Tonight's story isn't folklore. It's something witnessed, remembered, and whispered across decades. In a quiet Korean school where ambition was worshipped and exhaustion was routine, one girl saw something she was never meant to see. A classmate smiling through a classroom window, and behind her something black, human-shaped, and impossibly still. That night, she learned the difference between pressure and possession years later. The same voice that once trembled in fear would uncover another haunting, one born not from superstition, but from burnout, sleeplessness, and grief. Two encounters, two lives, one truth. Some ghosts aren't dead. They're the weight we never escaped. This is the Headless Girl, the true Korean haunting that terrified millions. The story begins in 1999 at a prestigious all-girls high school in Korea, the kind where every breath smelled like caffeine and desperation. Here, excellence wasn't encouraged. It was demanded. The students slept barely 3 hours a night, their lives reduced to exam scores and rankings on a bulletin board. In that kind of pressure, the air itself begins to hum, heavy, electric, almost alive. Our narrator, Ji-yoon, remembers that place vividly. She was quiet, observant, and easily startled, the kind of girl who noticed everything others ignored. When her teacher announced a classroom camping night, most students cheered. Ji-yoon didn't. Spending the night inside that building felt wrong. The school already had whispers, rumors about the girl who never made it to graduation. The one who jumped. The one who was still seen sometimes waiting by the windows. But curiosity and conformity win over instinct, and so the girls stayed. By 10 p.m., laughter echoed down the corridor. Snack wrappers, card games, and the faint buzz of fluorescent lights filled the air. Ji-yoon sat near the back, eyes drifting toward the classroom door, one of those sliding wooden ones with a rectangle of glass at head height. Through it she saw a face, a familiar classmate smiling in the hallway, watching them play. But behind her was something else, a shape, tall, black, motionless. The figure didn't move. It didn't blink, and even when Ji-yoon blinked, it was still there, fixed, deliberate, as if waiting to be noticed. Every instinct told her to look away, but she couldn't. Her chest tightened, her breath quickened. Then, almost mechanically, she reached up, removed her contact lenses, hoping the blur would save her. But the shadow didn't fade. It stayed clear, crystal clear, even as the rest of the world dissolved into fog. That was the moment Ji-yoon realized this wasn't exhaustion. Something else was awake in that school. The clock above the blackboard ticked toward 11 p.m. The classroom lights buzzed with that faint electric hum that only exists in empty schools at night. Ji-yoon pretended to laugh with her classmates, but her eyes kept drifting toward the window in the door. The girl in the hallway was still there, still smiling, still watching. No one else seemed to notice. Maybe because laughter can drown out anything, even fear. Ji-yoon told herself to stop looking, to blink, breathe, anything. But every time she looked back, the smile seemed wider. Then the hallway light flickered, once, twice, and the figure behind her classmate shifted forward, not walking. Just appearing closer, Ji-yoon's breath hitched. Her chest tightened. She could feel her pulse in her throat. "Do you see that?" she whispered to the girl beside her. But when her friend turned, the hallway was empty. The window showed only darkness. Everyone went back to playing. The tension melted away for everyone except her. Dejun stared into that patch of black glass until her own reflection emerged. Pale, nervous, and shaking, then something strange happened. The reflection smiled back, but she hadn't. Her body froze. The air grew heavy, charged, almost metallic. She reached for her contacts again, desperate to blur the world. But before she could touch her eye, the door rattled, just once, then silence. The teacher, startled, looked up. "Probably the wind," he said, trying to sound casual. But every girl in that room knew the air was still. Ji-yoon stared at the door until the shapes beyond it dissolved into shadow. She didn't know it yet, but that was the last night anyone would use that classroom for camping again. Ji-eun couldn't take her eyes off that door, even after the laughter returned, even after her classmates started another game. She could still hear that rattle echoing in her mind. Every creak of the building sounded like footsteps. Every flicker of the lights felt like someone blinking. When her teacher finally stepped out to take a phone call, Ji-eun whispered to her closest friend, "Let's go to the convenience store. I need air." Her voice was trembling, but she tried to smile. They slipped out quietly, shoes squeaking against the waxed hallway floor. The corridors were darker now, the windows showing nothing but their own reflections in the black glass. Outside, the night air hit like cold metal. The school grounds were empty, silent except for the hum of vending machines and the faint buzz of a street lamp near the gate. That's when Ji-eun noticed it, a parked car just inside the gate. Not in the lot, not by the road, right against the entrance. The interior light was on, and inside in the driver's seat sat a girl, white blouse, navy skirt, their school's summer uniform, but it was January. Ji-eun froze. Her friend tugged her arm. "What are you looking at?" Ji-eun pointed, but couldn't speak. As they stepped closer, the shape of the girl became clearer. Her posture was perfect, her hands resting on the steering wheel, but there was no head, nothing from the collar upward, just absence. The light inside the car glowed softly over the empty space where a face should have been. Ji-eun's heart stopped. She couldn't breathe. She wanted to scream, but no sound came out. Her friend kept walking, calm, confused. "What car?" she asked. Ji-eun turned back, and the gate was empty. No light, no car, only the cold sound of wind passing through the metal bars. Ji-eun's hands were still shaking when she got back to the classroom. Her friend kept talking, insisting there was never a car, not even a tire mark, but Ji-eun didn't argue. She couldn't. The classroom looked exactly as they'd left it. Sleeping bags, snack wrappers, half-played games. But something had changed in the air, like the air conditioning had stopped, or maybe the air itself had thickened. Her teacher asked if she was okay. Ji-eun smiled too quickly, the way people do when they don't want to be questioned. "Just tired," she said, but her voice sounded far away, even to herself. When the teacher turned away, Ji-eun's gaze drifted toward the windows again. The black glass reflected the room like a mirror. Every movement, every face except one, her own reflection, was delayed. Half a second slower than everyone else's. At first she thought it was her imagination, but the longer she stared, the more obvious it became. The reflection blinked after she did, moved a moment too late, Then the reflection smiled. Ji-yoon didn't. She stood up suddenly, her chair scraping the floor, and that sound cut through the room like a blade. Everyone turned, startled, but she didn't speak. She just kept staring at the window, and the reflection tilted its head, slowly, almost curiously, as if studying her, and then it raised its hand. But Ji-yoon's hands stayed frozen at her sides. A quiet gasp escaped her throat. The lights above flickered once, then again, before one bulb popped, sending a shower of sparks onto the desks. The teacher shouted, students screamed. Someone opened a window to clear the smoke, but Ji-yoon's eyes never left the glass, because even in the chaos, her reflection was still smiling. Ji-yoon didn't sleep that night. She lay in bed, the glow of her desk lamp still on, textbooks scattered like broken promises. Every time she blinked, she saw the window, the reflection that smiled when she didn't. Morning came pale and silent. Her mother asked if she was sick. Ji-yoon nodded without speaking. She couldn't explain that she felt watched even in daylight at school. The others teased her for leaving early. Scared of the ghosts? Someone laughed. Ji-yoon forced a smile. But when she glanced toward the classroom door, the same faint outline waited there, black against the glass, motionless. That night, she tried to convince herself it was stress, a trick of light. Too much caffeine, too little sleep. She opened her notebook to study, and the reflection in the window beside her desk tilted its head again. Only this time it moved first. The air grew cold. Her pencil rolled off the desk. She froze. In the reflection, she saw her bedroom door open, even though behind her it stayed shut. A slow, deliberate knock echoed from inside the glass. Not on her door. From the other side of the reflection, Ji-yoon whispered the only thing she could remember, a childhood prayer her grandmother taught her, voice shaking. Tears building, the reflection leaned forward until its forehead nearly touched the glass. Then it mouthed something, one word, stay. The light bulb above her flickered once, twice, then went dark, and when it came back, she was alone again, or maybe she wasn't, because on her desk, in her handwriting, a single sentence had appeared, I told you not to look. Years passed before Ji-yoon ever spoke of that night again. She graduated, left the city, changed her name online, but sometimes, when the wind hissed through her apartment windows, she could still hear that single knock from inside the glass at reunions. No one mentioned the camping night. They remembered the snacks, the laughter, the power outage, but not the thing standing behind the glass. The school remodeled years later. They replaced the old sliding doors with modern steel ones. The courtyard where the car had been seen became a small garden. No one talked about why the security guards refused to patrol there after dark. Ji-yoon went on to study journalism, maybe as a way to chase truth through shadows. She wrote about real-world horrors, industrial fires, corruption scandals, but never about that night until one winter morning. She received a thin envelope with no return address. Inside was a single photograph, a classroom window, and in the reflection, a girl in a summer uniform, her head slightly tilted. The same smile. Ji-yoon quit her job a week later. She never used mirrors in her home again. Her neighbors said her windows were always covered, taped at the edges like she was trying to keep something out, or in local legend says that at that old school, students sometimes hear singing in the halls, a soft hum like a voice trapped in glass. And every few years someone swears they see her, a girl in a white blouse and navy skirt, standing by the gate, no head. Just a faint shimmer of moonlight where a face should be. Some say she's waiting for her name to be remembered. Others say she's looking for someone who saw her and kept watching. If you thought the horror ended here, you're wrong. What other dark rituals and forbidden practices are still being performed in secret? Dive deeper into the chilling world of haunted ceremonies, banned footage, and eerie folklore that refuses to stay buried. Click on the playlist to uncover terrifying recordings, lost evidence, and disturbing stories they never wanted you to see. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for weekly uploads of spine-tingling footage and dark tales that echo from the shadows. This is the Forbidden's Archive, where the hidden truth and haunting evidence come to life.